Lily collapsed. Is that true? And is she okay? I'm not sure. The school said that she suddenly collapsed during a swimming lesson. My daughter Lily was taken to the hospital after experiencing hyperventilation during a swimming class. When I arrived at the hospital, Lily was sound asleep. Seeing her sleeping face, I was relieved. Amelia. How is Lily? Is she okay? My husband Joseph also rushed over after hearing the news. She's calm and just sleeping now. Please don't worry, Dr. Taylor replied, although his expression was somewhat somber. Dr. Taylor, please be frank with us. When I urged him, Dr. Taylor seemed to make up his mind and asked. What's the relationship like between your daughter and her grandparents? What do you mean by that question? I'm asking whether the relationship between your daughter and her grandparents is going well, Dr. Taylor reiterated. Taken aback by the sudden question, I was at a loss for words. Hey, you. Stop insulting my dad and mom. Joseph was trembling with anger as he spoke. From the vein throbbing on his forehead, I could tell that he was seething with rage. What's wrong with you? I was surprised by my usually stoic husband's emotional outburst. Then I must tell you. The shocking truth that Dr. Taylor revealed made me feel utterly powerless as a mother. My name is Amelia, a 42-year-old office worker. I currently live with my office worker husband, our elementary school-aged daughter, and my in-laws, making us a family of 5. We used to live apart from my in-laws. However, my job, which pays well, requires me to work late during the busy season. Joseph, being in a management position, often has to prioritize his work. Joseph, who was raised by education-focused parents, has always been work-driven. Constantly striving for higher goals even after joining the company. Even after coming home, he would bring work and continue to toil away. He was truly a workaholic. Because of this, both Joseph and I have inevitably made Lily feel lonely. It's good that we have an income, but this isn't fair to Lily. As I sighed and shared my concerns, Joseph suggested an idea. If you're okay with it, Amelia, how about we live with my parents? Actually, my dad and mom have been suggesting this for a while. My father-in-law, Michael, was an elite employee at a major trading company. My mother-in-law, Susan, was an educator at a prestigious middle school until she gave birth to Joseph. However, Michael had to take early retirement due to a worsening chronic illness a few years ago. After quitting her teaching job, Susan supported the household as a housewife, but started working part-time following Michael's retirement. We, as a couple, have also been sending a fixed amount of money to my in-laws every month. I've been thinking about remodeling the family home for dual living. It's a good opportunity. It would be better for Lily to live in a spacious single-family home with a garden than in our current apartment, I agreed. Moving Lily's school to a more natural setting might be better too. Every night after Lily went to bed, we discussed this and reported our decision to my mother-in-law over the phone. That's the situation. Is that okay with you? We're more than happy to do so. In fact, we were about to ask you the same. I'm glad to hear you say that. It makes me happy and reassured. Thus, our plans for living together as an extended family moved forward smoothly. We remodeled the in-laws' house, allocating the first floor to them and the second floor as our living space. While we mostly kept to our separate spaces, we made sure the doors weren't locked so we could easily reach out to each other if needed. Even if my husband and I come home late from work, Lily would have dinner with my in-laws on the first floor, so she wouldn't feel lonely anymore. I thought. Yet, every morning as I left for work, I couldn't help but feel guilty towards my in-laws. I'm sorry for always imposing, Susan. Thank you for taking care of Lily. While Joseph and I were at work, my in-laws always helped Lily with her studies. It's really no trouble at all. That's right, Amelia. Lily is our beloved granddaughter too. You don't need to worry about it. Michael said with a hearty laugh. Lily, make sure you listen to your grandparents and behave well. Okay, I understand. Then, Susan, Michael, please continue to take good care of Lily. Having such reliable in-laws made me feel more at ease to focus on my work than ever before. 3 months after we started living together. I came home earlier than usual one day because work ended early, and Lily ran into my arms crying. What's wrong, Lily? Why are you crying? Lily clung to me and wouldn't lift her face. Susan followed Lily and said, she must be so happy to see her mom, trying to pat Lily on the head. Lily shook her head violently, showing that she didn't like it. Susan smiled a bit sadly. Lily, that's not right. You always have your grandma to help you with your studies. It's not nice to act like this, you'll make grandma sad. She probably just misses her parents a lot. Right, Lily? I'm sorry, Susan. It's okay, I don't mind. Susan continued to smile calmly. Lily was working hard on her studies just a while ago. Such a good girl. When Susan tried to pat Lily on the head, Lily shook her head violently again, refusing. Lily. I said no. Where's your apology to Grandma? When I scolded her, Lily reluctantly turned her face towards Susan and apologized with a trembling voice, sorry, Grandma. Since Lily usually seemed very fond of her grandmother, I didn't think much of it at the time, assuming she just wanted to play instead of study. I'm the one who should apologize, Lily. Sorry. I thought I saw tears in Susan's eyes, but when she realized I was looking, she quickly said, I must have gotten something in my eye. And laughed it off. As time went on, I noticed that not only Susan but also Lily's behavior was strange. Even though Lily often played by herself before we lived with the grandparents, she had never clung to me crying like that before. And yet, to act that way towards her kind grandmother, who always doted on her. Lily might be dealing with some issues that we, as adults, don't understand. Just before bedtime, I discussed this with Joseph. If I cut back on work, I could spend more time with Lily, and she wouldn't have to feel so lonely. What's this all of a sudden? We've talked this over many times before. My parents are looking after her, so there's no need to worry. But even if your parents are wonderful people, they can't replace a mother. Are you saying my parents aren't reliable? Joseph furrowed his brows and glared at me. Whenever something displeased him, Joseph often showed such an expression. That's not what I'm saying. It's just. Anyway, it's best to leave Lily in my parents' care. With that, Joseph turned away as if he was tired of the discussion and fell asleep. Winter came, and my busy work season finally slowed down. I'll do the dishes, so please rest, Susan. Oh, are you sure? Aren't you tired from work? It's relatively calm now, so I can help with laundry and cleaning on my days off. Is that so? Then I'll take you up on your offer and watch some TV. I decided to dedicate myself to household chores, making up for the time I couldn't before. Joseph seemed to be as busy with work as ever. Amelia, you're trying so hard. So, leave Lily's bath time to me tonight. Are you sure? Aren't you tired? Seeing me busy around the house, Joseph seemed to be considerate. Leave it to me. Parent-child communication is important, right? Saying that, Joseph puffed up his chest proudly. Lily, go ahead and take a bath with Daddy. When I called out to her, Lily was led by Joseph to the bathroom. Imagining the heartwarming scene between father and daughter, I couldn't help but smile. However, seeing Lily after she came out of the bath, I was surprised. Lily, doesn't your face seem a bit red? Lily's face appeared unusually flushed. Lily looked up at Joseph's face and remained silent, not attempting to answer. What's wrong, Lily? Why are you so quiet? She must have stayed in too long and got a bit overheated. She's probably feeling a bit dizzy. Joseph answered for her. Are you really okay? I asked repeatedly, concerned, but each time Lily would glance at Joseph's face and then nod, saying, yeah, I'm okay. From that day, no matter how busy he was, Joseph began to make it a point to bathe Lily almost every day. However, each time, Lily's face would be flushed after the bath. I wonder if she's sick. Maybe we should get her checked out at the hospital. That's an exaggeration. You're fine, right, Lily? You're not in any pain, are you? Yeah, I'm okay. Amelia, you worry too much. Joseph said, dismissing my concerns for our daughter with a laugh. At that time, I hadn't yet realized the suffering my daughter was going through. Time passed, and it was summer the following year. Lily started attending a summer swimming school. Lily has always loved playing in the water since she was little, and even as an elementary student. She looked forward to swimming lessons every year. That's great. You've got your favorite swimming lessons starting today. Yeah, that's right. It's been a year since you last swam. Have you forgotten how to swim? Probably not. For some reason, Lily looked downcast from the morning. Lily, who had been eagerly awaiting the arrival of summer, didn't smile even once that morning. I thought she might be a little nervous about returning to the pool after a long time, but looking at her expression, it seemed more like fear than nervousness. Lily, are you okay? I'm fine, Mom. Don't worry. Lily forced a stiff smile. Are you sure you're not pushing yourself? If you're feeling sick, I can call the school and you can take the day off. I'm fine, so you should go to work, Mom. All right, Lily. I'm off to work then. Take care. Lily smiled and saw me off. That smile still seemed somewhat forced. It'll be fine. Grandma and Grandpa are there if anything happens. I reassured myself and focused on my work. When I returned to the office after lunch, Amelia, something terrible has happened. The swimming school called, and your daughter has been taken to the hospital for hyperventilation. My colleague informed me in a panicked state. What? Lily. Go quickly. Momentarily paralyzed by shock, I snapped back to reality when urged by my boss and rushed to the hospital in a taxi. On the way, I contacted Joseph. Lily collapsed. Is it true? And is she okay? I don't know. The school said she suddenly fell during the swimming lesson. What is the school doing? If anything happens, we'll hold the school accountable later. Now's not the time to talk about that. I'm on my way to the hospital where Lily was taken. Got it. I'm heading there now too. Usually focused on work, Joseph seemed truly panicked this time. Upon arriving at the hospital, I found Lily sleeping peacefully in her bed. Seeing her sleeping face, I let out a sigh of relief. Lily. The tension that had been building up was suddenly released, making me feel dizzy. Steady there. Dr. Taylor supported me, preventing me from falling. Amelia. How is Lily? Joseph. Lily is. I tried to answer, but my words were tangled. She's calm and just sleeping for now. Please don't worry, Dr. Taylor replied in a steady voice. Dr. Taylor, thank you so much. Tears of relief fell as I thanked Dr. Taylor. However, Dr. Taylor didn't show a smile, instead, his expression was somber. Dr. Taylor. What is it? Well, actually. Dr. Taylor seemed hesitant to speak. Please tell me clearly. Fear gripped me, thinking that Lily might have been diagnosed with a serious illness. Well, how is your daughter's relationship with her grandparents on a daily basis? Dr. Taylor asked carefully. What do you mean by that? I didn't immediately understand the intention behind his roundabout question. I'm asking if the relationship between your daughter and her grandparents is going well. It's fine. But why do you ask? I understood the question but couldn't grasp why Dr. Taylor would want to know such a thing. What could possibly be happening between Lily and my in-laws? An inexplicable fear rose within me. As I fell silent, struggling to respond, Joseph, standing behind me, started trembling with rage and said, Hey, what are you trying to say? The vein throbbing on his forehead told me he was filled with anger. What's wrong, Joseph? Feeling something was seriously off with Joseph, who rarely showed his emotions, I became concerned. Stop insulting my parents. I'm not trying to insult anyone. I just want to verify the facts. Joseph was about to lash out at Dr. Taylor, who remained calm and tried to pacify him. My parents cared deeply about Lily. Stop making unfounded accusations. If you insult my parents any further, I'll sue. Joseph, please calm down. How can I stay calm? My parents are being insulted. Dr. Taylor, What exactly did you mean by your earlier question? Dr. Taylor sighed deeply, as if troubled. Then I must say. Dr. Taylor then detailed the circumstances leading to Lily being brought to the hospital. When Lily was about to enter the pool during her swimming lesson, she suddenly experienced hyperventilation and was rushed to the hospital by ambulance. That part one already knew from the school's explanation. However, the issue was what happened next. Upon arrival at the hospital, it seemed Lily was desperately trying to convey something amidst her erratic breathing. While proceeding with the treatment, Dr. Taylor asked, "What is it?" as he leaned close to Lily's mouth. Then, as if her consciousness was fading, she kept repeating, "I'm sorry, Grandma. I'm sorry, Grandpa." To apologize repeatedly to her grandparents even in such a dire situation indicates she must have had some significant experiences with them. What exactly happened between your daughter and her grandparents? I was taken aback by such a sudden question. It was completely unexpected for me. Dr. Taylor. I don't understand what you're trying to say. I asked, but my gaze was not on Dr. Taylor but on my husband, who seemed even less composed than me. What's with that look? You know something, don't you? Joseph's odd behavior led me to believe he was hiding something. I don't know what you're talking about. This doctor is spouting nonsense. It's impossible that my parents did something terrible to Lily. Joseph, who was furious just moments ago, suddenly burst into laughter. It was as if he was trying to cover up something he didn't want me to find out. It's not nonsense. I'm merely stating the facts. And I never said your parents did something terrible to your daughter. All right then, I'll make it clear. I suspect that the grandparents might have been causing your daughter distress on a regular basis. Which is why I've also contacted Child Protective Services. Don't intrude on our family. In cases of suspicion, it's my duty as a doctor to promptly notify the relevant authorities. Dr. Taylor argued back just as strongly. Perhaps disturbed by the adult's noisy argument, Lily woke up. Mom? Lily, you're awake. Oh, I was worried. I rushed to Lily and hugged her tightly as she sat up. You can take her home today, there should be no problem, said Dr. Taylor. To which Joseph responded, of course. How could I leave her with such an irresponsible doctor? Let's go home, Lily. And tried to forcibly make her walk by grabbing her hand. Don't touch her. Before I could think, I had pulled Lily's hand away from Joseph. Tension filled the air between Joseph and me, but I was more concerned about Lily's mental state. In the taxi on the way home, Joseph kept grumbling that doctor was just lying, trying to make my parents out to be the bad guys. I couldn't take his words at face value and remained silent. What, do you suspect my parents too? It's not that, but... Lily. Grandma and Grandpa didn't do anything terrible to you, right? Yes. Nothing bad. See? Lily says nothing bad happened. That doctor was just making things up. It was clear to me that Lily wasn't answering of her own will but was being coerced by Joseph's domineering attitude. Seeing Lily's frightened face, I couldn't help but wonder what had happened between her and my in-laws. Lily must have endured something horrific behind my back, something so dreadful she couldn't even speak to me about it. There must have been something significant for Dr. Taylor to contact Child Protective Services. However, confronting them directly would only lead to denials, and without evidence, there was nothing I could do. There was no evidence anywhere that those two were harassing Lily. Hey, are you listening? I snapped back to reality at Joseph's shout. Sorry, what did you say? Don't make me repeat myself. If those child services people come knocking, don't let them in, understand? Why not? If there's nothing to hide, we might as well let them in. Let them have a good look around the house and see for themselves that there's nothing amiss. Despite knowing it was futile, I countered. What if that starts rumors in the neighborhood? Think about how it could affect my career. Think before you speak. Joseph had always been on a smooth path as an elite, from his childhood to his career as an adult, never once facing failure. Proud Joseph must be terrified of getting a bad reputation more than anything else. Is his pride really something that needs to be protected more than his daughter? While pondering this, my gaze landed on the taxi's dash cam. Yes. That's it. I remembered a certain fact that I had forgotten to tell my in-laws and Joseph. The next day, I pretended everything was normal with my in-laws and Joseph, but I took a leave of absence from work. I killed some time at a friend's house and waited at the school gates for Lily to finish school. Lily. Over here. Lily looked surprised to see me but also seemed relieved. Mom, what's going on? I'll explain later. Let's catch a flight together now. Then we took a bus to the airport and flew to my hometown. From that night until the next morning, Joseph called me repeatedly. Feeling utterly annoyed, I reluctantly answered after several calls. What's going on? Where did you take Lily? To a safe place out of your reach. What? Don't joke with me. Come back and explain properly. I have no intention of coming back. A phone call is enough for explanations. Then at least bring Lily back. Give her back to us. Joseph was yelling over the phone. I calmly replied, I refuse. Why? What on earth did we do? If you don't remember, let me enlighten you. Because you kept doing things to Lily every day that she hates. My suppressed anger exploded all at once. I explained everything to Joseph in order of events. On the way back from the hospital, I saw the taxi's dash cam and remembered that we had installed a camera in the living room. The camera was installed to watching over our elderly in-laws and Lily. It would alert my phone immediately if anything unusual happened. The ground floor was the living space of my in-laws, and Lily could come and go as she pleased when Joseph and I were at work. Shortly after we started living with my in-laws, Susan began forcing Lily to wash dishes and do the cleaning. Initially, I thought it was Susan's way of teaching household chores to her granddaughter, but Susan never guided her. Just watching Lily with Michael. Lily quietly did as she was told. However, after finishing her tasks, Susan stopped Lily from going upstairs, saying in a somehow sad voice, "Please clean the bathroom next." But, I have homework. Sorry, but please, just do as you're told. A child who can't do this cannot stay in our house. So please, do as you're told. Okay? It's for your own good. Saying this, Susan grabbed Lily's wrist and forcibly tried to take her outside. Please, just listen, Lily. The surveillance camera, though it picked up a bit of background noise, was good at capturing the sounds clearly, allowing Susan's voice to be distinctly heard. Interestingly, even as she gave orders, Susan sounded somehow sad. Grandpa, help. When Lily sought help, Michael did not admonish nor appease Susan but merely watched quietly from the sidelines. Faced with this unbelievable reality unfolding on the screen, I was speechless. The harassment from my in-laws towards Lily seemed to continue almost every day when I wasn't home. I couldn't believe that Susan could do such a thing behind my back. I was shocked. I told Joseph about the harassment from my in-laws towards Lily, without mentioning the surveillance camera. Misunderstanding something, Joseph angrily exclaimed, "That girl. Even after all the disciplining, she talked? Was it not enough? So, you were the root cause after all? Huh? I did mention your mother, but I never said a word about you being involved. You tricked me. That's the lowest of the low. To do such a thing to our elementary school-aged daughter? Who's really the lowest now?" I found myself reminiscing about the days when Joseph used to bathe our daughter, Lily, in the tub. I know what you did to Lily in the bath. There was no proof, but I decided to bluff. It was educational. She started to dislike studying and was content with just getting 90 on her tests, so I thought I'd re-educate her a bit. Re-educate? How dare you say such a thing? Lily is terrified. All I said was she couldn't leave the bath until she answered my questions correctly. Joseph had unwittingly confessed. Joseph. When Dr. Taylor asked you about Lily and your parents at the hospital, you were furious. But that wasn't because you were protecting your mother. You were afraid it would come out that you were forcing them to do such things against their will. And you refused intervention from child services for the same reason. The surveillance camera footage clearly showed Joseph threatening his parents. Susan and Michael weren't doing things to upset Lily willingly. The reason Lily's face was always flushed when she came out of the bath was that Joseph wouldn't let her out for extended periods. The bathing experience had become traumatic for Lily, making her extremely averse to water. And then, on the day we had swimming class at school, just attempting to enter the pool brought back painful memories, causing her to hyperventilate. Because of you, she can't even enter the pool she loves. So what? You don't know how I feel. I don't want to know how you feel. My dad was an elite businessman, and my mom was a well-respected educator. In contrast, as a child, whenever my grades dropped even slightly, I was ridiculed by comparing me to my parents. I didn't want to go through that miserable experience. That's why I was strict with Lily, to ensure she didn't go through what I did. That's education, isn't it? Saying so, Joseph began to laugh in a chilling manner. When my dad had to retire early due to a chronic illness and they came to me for financial help, I felt victorious inside. I thought, now, the tables have turned. I'll support you financially, but in return, discipline Lily strictly. That was the condition on which I agreed to live with them. Knowing Joseph's twisted true intentions sent a chill down my spine. I've recorded this call. And not just this, but the surveillance camera also has everything recorded, including how you threatened your mother. With this evidence, I will protect her. You're finished. Wait, just wait. We can talk this out. Joseph was panicking at the last moment, but I had nothing more to say and hung up the phone, blocking his number. I went to the police and child services with the surveillance footage, the recording of the call, and the medical report from the hospital. This is terrible. The evidence is clear, both in video and audio. The responding officer promised immediate action. Later, a new revelation from Lily shocked me further. When I asked her why she hadn't come to me sooner, Lily, in tears, answered, "Because Dad said if you didn't behave, he'd do the same to you. I didn't want you to go through bad things." Lily had been threatened by her own father all along. To protect me, she kept her fears and anxieties to herself, even though she was still so young. Despite her own suffering, she was trying to protect me. I failed to see the pain my daughter was enduring. Was I even a mother? Ashamed of my failure, I hugged my sobbing daughter tightly. "I'm sorry, Lily. It was all my fault." "It's not your fault. Because you saved me." Hearing the warmth in her voice, my tears wouldn't stop. "Of course. I am on your side. No matter what happens, I won't leave you alone. I love you so much, and I'll always protect you." I swore in my heart never to let her go through such sadness again. In the end, the medical report from Dr. Taylor and the recording of the call were decisive, and Joseph was arrested for assault. But the in-laws were shown some leniency. Some time had passed since then. My in-laws with gaunt faces visited my parents' house. "I'm sorry, Amelia." "Lily. It's too late for us to apologize now, but we're truly sorry. We knew it was wrong, but we just couldn't refuse his demands. We're such failures as parents. Please don't apologize. You can see in the footage. You two were forced to do those things to Lily because Joseph threatened you." To be honest, of course, I felt like blaming my in-laws too. But blaming them wouldn't have changed anything. Perhaps sensing my feelings, Michael apologized sincerely. Even if we were threatened, the fact that we did such terrible things to our dear granddaughter can't be erased. We're not looking for forgiveness, that would be too presumptuous. We just wanted to apologize to you and Lily. Though, in the end, maybe we just wanted to ease our own guilt. Lily ran over to them and gently stroked the backs of Michael and Susan. "Grandpa, Grandma. I'm not angry. Thank you for teaching me schoolwork." Moved by Lily's words, the two of them broke down in tears, unable to lift their faces. It was as if they felt unworthy of even showing their faces to their granddaughter. Lily told them, "You can come to see us anytime, but after that, my in-laws never appeared before us again." 5 years have passed since then, and Lily has become a middle school student. Currently, Lily and I live under the watchful eyes of my parents. I explained the situation to my company and switched to primarily remote work. Local police are on standby in case Joseph shows up, but the worry never completely goes away. I've attended seminars on security measures and bought security gadgets to reinforce our home's safety. I make sure to accompany Lily to and from school without fail. Lily has gradually started to regain her smile. Lately, she's taken an interest in helping my father with the gardening he started as a hobby after retirement. Grandpa, look at this big potato we harvested. Oh, that's a big one indeed. Lily, why don't you make mashed potatoes with your mother tonight? Okay, I'll do that. Living with Lily seems to have rejuvenated my parents, both in spirit and appearance. Just as Lily tried to protect me, I want to protect her with all my might from now on. Watching Lily's carefree smile, I thought to myself, here's a gift for you, $2,000. After giving birth, when my husband and I returned to his parents' house, my mother-in-law handed us an envelope saying it contained a gift of $2,000 as a celebration of the birth. Upon checking its contents, I threw the envelope into the trash. This is how they treat me after enduring days of being demeaned by her and senior employees. What are you doing? Apologize to Mom. In a panic, my husband scolded me, but I sharply retorted, can you say the same after seeing this? Upon checking the contents of the envelope, he glared at his mother with an anger I had never seen before. And then, he made a certain decision. My name is Sarah Miller, 28 years old. I had an arranged marriage with my husband, Alex. Alex, 2 years my senior, is the eldest son of a bakery, raised strictly as the heir, but he's a very calm and kind person. From the first meeting, I was drawn to his kindness. I want to share the beauty and delicate taste of our cakes with people all over the world, that's why I'm a pastry chef. Will you join me in fulfilling this dream? Instead of an engagement ring, he presented me with a cake designed with me in mind, saying this. Moved to tears, he continued. When we're married, Sarah, you'll work as the manager of our shop. Also, we'll have to live with my parents at our family home. Is that okay with you? Living with the in-laws was a condition of our marriage. Marriage to an heir comes with its challenges. But with Alex by my side, everything will surely be okay. This is what I thought, and I accepted his proposal. Thus, we became husband and wife. As promised, after the marriage, we began our life living with his parents in the residence attached to the bakery. Sarah, since you've married into this family, you must be prepared for it. As a manager, make sure to act without any blunders. Yes. From the day I started living with them, my mother-in-law, Kate, immediately started with her strict words. The sweet married life I had dreamed of did not exist in this world. Sarah, how many times do I have to tell you? Remember our traditions properly. As a manager, you need to act more responsibly. Having someone who needs so much attention marry into the family, I feel sorry for the boss. Day after day, I was demeaned by her and a senior female employee, Jade. My father-in-law, not much of a talker, didn't say much, but in his presence, the tension would skyrocket. And I would become so nervous that I'd make mistakes. Seeing me like this, he would sigh blatantly. There was no place in this house where I felt at peace. But I'll work hard to be recognized by everyone soon, and stand beside Alex without feeling ashamed. This feeling alone was what supported me. Then, I discovered I was pregnant. Take good care of yourself and give birth to a fine heir. Starting with Kate, everyone began to be considerate of my condition. At the 5-month pregnancy checkup, upon finding out the gender of the child, I immediately shared the news with my in-laws and Alex during dinner. The baby in my belly is a girl. Everyone's movements halted for a moment. A girl? Ah, a girl, huh? Huh? No words of congratulations came from anyone. Alex, avoiding eye contact with anyone, kept his head down and continued eating his dinner silently. I was taken aback by everyone's reaction. Does the heir have to be a boy? Unable to understand the Miller family's way of thinking, I just shoveled my dinner into my mouth, feeling frustrated. From the next day, everyone's attitudes changed drastically. Pregnancy isn't an illness, don't pamper yourself and make sure to work hard. As soon as they found out the baby was a girl, the demeaning comments and being overworked by Kate and Jade returned. Why can't a girl be the heir to a bakery? It's truly pitiful that my child will be born into a situation with so little celebration. I worry for her well-being. And I firmly resolve to protect her no matter what. Alex, I think you've noticed too. Ever since I married into this family, I've been demeaned every day by your mother and Jade. Their attitudes since finding out the baby is a girl have been truly unbearable. One day, unable to hold back any longer, I finally spoke up to him. He looked troubled. Sarah, I'm sorry. I'm still in training. I don't have the right to go against this family. Please bear with it. If you learn the work faster, I'm sure they will stop saying anything. I'm really happy about our baby, whether it's a boy or a girl. Please take care of yourself. Saying this, he hastily headed to the shower. While he did show concern for my well-being, honestly, I was shocked by his unreliable response. However, I caressed my belly. I can't be discouraged by such things. I'm going to be a mother. I must become strong for the sake of this child. With this renewed determination, I dreamt of the day my baby would be born healthy and endured the harassment and demeaning treatment alone. In the house, I was mainly responsible for preparing dinner. And we had a system where I would pay for the groceries first and then give the receipt to her to get reimbursed. This system meant that she would scrutinize every item on the receipt, making it difficult to buy things I wanted. However, since becoming pregnant, I often craved sour and sweet things. Should I buy it? But I hate getting snide remarks from her too. I debated with myself while shopping, but in the end, I couldn't muster the courage to buy. But one day, I just had to have something sweet. Desperate, after much deliberation, I approached Alex, who was in the workshop. I've been craving something sweet because of the pregnancy. If there are any leftover bits, could you share some with me? Sure, just wait a bit. He, sneaking away from the eyes of the employees, wrapped some cake trimmings in plastic wrap and brought them to me. Thank you. But just then, Kate appeared. What are you doing here, Sarah? Her gaze dropped to my hand. How greedy of you. This is a workshop for artisans. You are not allowed to come and go here from now on. With that, she snatched away the precious trimmings Alex had given me and kicked me out of the workshop. One day, when I went to prepare dinner, I found the fridge crammed with ingredients I had never seen before, like expensive beef. Since I wasn't allowed to use ingredients from the fridge without her permission, I asked her. Can I use the ingredients in the fridge? What are you talking about? Those are for Sienna, who's coming back the day after tomorrow. Don't you dare use them. She coldly retorted. Sienna is Alex's sister. She married into a farming family, and apparently, she's coming back for a visit because her morning sickness has been severe during her 3rd month of pregnancy. Coming back for morning sickness in the 3rd month? Meanwhile, here I am, 7 months pregnant, being told a pregnancy isn't an illness and being worked to the bone. There was a lot I wanted to think about, but the more I thought about it, the more miserable I felt. Shaking off those thoughts, I prepared dinner with other ingredients. The day Sienna came back, Kate was in a particularly good mood from the morning. Kate, who had originally opposed Sienna marrying into a farming family, was overjoyed to have her daughter back home after a long time. Today, I'll make dinner, so Sarah, you can go for a leisurely walk if you like. Unusually, she was kind. Since I rarely had the chance to take a leisurely walk in the evening due to the busy schedule, I decided to take her up on her offer. The sky is so vast. The sky, which I looked up at for the first time in a while, was dyed red and enveloped me in a gentle warmth. When I instinctively placed my hand on my belly, I felt the baby's movements. Mommy is working hard for you. Come out healthy and strong. I whispered this to my baby. What a nice smell. As I returned home, I was greeted by the scent of steaks being grilled. As I was about to enter the living room, I heard voices from inside. Sienna, make sure you eat plenty for the baby's sake. Peeking inside, I saw she laying out a feast in front of Sienna. At the table, my father-in-law and Alex were seated, silently eating their steaks. What about Sarah's portion? Just as he looked up and our eyes met, he asked this. Oh, it's okay. I've made some soup for her. At her reply, Alex said nothing and looked away from me. So, there's no steak for me. Unable to bear it, I quietly made my way to our bedroom without anyone noticing. I'm also pregnant like Sienna, yet no one tells me to eat plenty. Confronted with the reality of being ostracized, I couldn't hold back my tears any longer. Why do I have to be treated like this? Neither I nor my unborn child is welcomed in this house. I just want to leave this place. The tears wouldn't stop flowing. After a while, Alex came in with a cold steak. I sneaked out my portion for you. It's cold, but I'm sorry for making you feel even sadder because my sister came. He apologized, seeming genuinely remorseful. I wish I could stand up to them more. I've always had a hard time dealing with my mom and sister. Mom had a tough time with grandma. So she probably thinks this is just how mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationships are. Sienna has always been jealous of me for being the pampered eldest son and has been mean to me behind the scenes since we were kids. They're both so stubborn and troublesome, I honestly don't want to deal with them. Your family issues are none of my concern. Though he apologized, I realized that he wouldn't be able to protect me or our child in the future. His unreliability made me feel even more miserable. Despite having no appetite, he urged me to eat the steak. For the sake of our baby, I tearfully forced myself to eat the cold steak. Despite being high-quality meat, I couldn't taste anything. I mechanically chewed and somehow managed to swallow it. Life became even harder after Sienna's arrival. Sarah, get this for me. Kate didn't hesitate to boss me around, despite my large belly. Sienna, you should rest until her morning sickness subsides. Meanwhile, she took advantage of being pampered by them and lazed around the house all day. Even though we're both pregnant, and my belly is even bigger. It's frustrating, but all I can do is silently endure for now. Sarah, I bought some pudding for you. Perhaps feeling sorry for me enduring such harsh treatment, Alex began secretly buying me things I craved, which was a small consolation. One day, I saw Sienna's room filled with luxury baby items and maternity goods from designer brands. I had hesitantly bought a complete set from a cheap store in the suburbs. Both of our children are their grandchildren, so why is there such a difference? I tried not to let it bother me, but it was deeply saddening. Then, on December 20th, I finally gave birth to a girl. Alex was overjoyed, tears streaming down his face. I'll become fully capable soon and protect you and our daughter. Alex promised me this. Upon returning to their house after being discharged from the hospital, to my surprise, she welcomed me with a smile. Let me hold her for a bit. I handed the baby over to her, who, having raised 2 children herself, expertly soothed her. Grandchildren are indeed precious, after all. Seeing her behavior, I felt a bit relieved. After a while, she returned the baby to me and took an envelope out of her pocket, handing it to Alex. This is a gift, $2,000. What, that much? I was surprised, but Alex didn't seem too shocked. Maybe in this family, it's normal to give that amount as a gift. He handed me the envelope without checking its contents, so after placing the baby in the crib, I took it. And I checked the contents, just in case. What? What is this? She smirked and looked away from me. Enough is enough. I threw the envelope into the trash can. Hey, what are you doing? Apologize to Mom. He was flustered. Can you still say the same after seeing this? I picked up the envelope I had thrown away and showed its contents to him. Upon seeing the contents, he frowned. Instead of $2,000, the envelope contained receipts and bills for the luxury groceries and maternity items they had prepared for Sienna. What is this about, Mom? Even he raised his voice. It's only natural for the eldest son and his wife to pay for our household expenses. She, unashamed, laid out her absurd logic. Why should we pay for maternity items and baby goods for Sienna, who left her home for her marriage? I couldn't stay silent any longer. I decided to leave this house with my child. Then, Alex spoke in a low voice. I'm leaving this house. What? The room went silent, and everyone, including me, looked at him. Alex glared at her with an anger I had never seen before. What do you take us for? I've always been dissatisfied with how you've treated Sarah, how you reacted when you found out our child was a girl. And your constant interference in the shop's management. I thought I'd endure it silently until I became capable of protecting the cake shop as its eldest son. But I've reached my limit. We're leaving this house. We won't take over the shop. Thank you for everything until now. Alex said this and bid farewell to his parents. Stunned by the unexpected turn of events, they were speechless for a while before silently leaving the room. Sarah, I'm really sorry for everything until now. I will protect you and our child. I've decided to leave this house on my own accord. But will you stay by my side? Alex, back to his usual gentle self. Yes. Thank you for protecting us. Let's overcome any difficulties together as a family of 3. The next day, Alex immediately started looking for a new home, and within a week, we began our new life as a family of 3. Our new home was a modest apartment, but for me, it was a blissful space where both my mind and body could relax. See, make sure you eat plenty and get proper rest whenever you can. And to my surprise, our new home was just a 5-minute walk from my parents' house. Really, Alex is such a wonderful person. It's rare to find someone who can openly express their vulnerabilities and ask for help as an adult. According to my mom, Alex had explained everything to my parents the night he decided to leave his family home, apologized, and asked for their support in the future. You can always rely on us. We're also very happy that you're living so close by. Touched by her kindness, I cried. Meanwhile, Kate occasionally contacted Alex, asking him to bring the grandchild for a visit, but Alex only sent pictures of the baby. After discussing it as a couple, we decided it would be best to keep our distance from them for a while, and we haven't given them our new address. Thanks to that, we've been able to live peacefully. Sarah, we're running out of diapers, so I'll go buy some. Alex actively helped with housework and childcare, and we cherished our modest happiness, living humbly each day. I'm thinking of starting my own business. One day, he came to me with a proposal. Even after the path to taking over his family's bakery was closed off, Alex, who had been captivated by the allure of cakes since childhood, hadn't given up on being involved with cakes. His dream, which he shared before we got married, to let people around the world know the beauty and delicate taste of cakes, was still very much alive in his heart. To realize that dream, he decided to start a mail-order cake business. Inspired by him, I too felt a surge of motivation. I wanted to help make his dream a reality. With this in mind, I pondered whether I could utilize the brief experience I had with cake making at my in-laws, finding moments between household chores and childcare to think it through. Look at the cake Daddy made, isn't it beautiful? One day, Alex showed our child a cake he had made. Though our 0-year-old couldn't eat it yet, she giggled and seemed fascinated by the colors of the cake she was seeing for the first time. Seeing this, an idea struck me. What about a cake that even babies could eat? In my mind, I envisioned cute baby smiles overlapping with cakes. When I promptly shared my thoughts with Alex, he embraced my idea, saying, "That's a great idea." Focusing on development, we worked on cakes that didn't use sugar, instead relying on the natural sweetness of ingredients like sweet potatoes, and avoided artificial colors to preserve the gentle hues of the ingredients themselves. After about 3 months, the product we had envisioned was complete. Initially, we had a friend's cake shop display it, and the customer feedback was unexpectedly positive, with many saying it was perfect for birthday parties. This could work. Encouraged, we started selling online, and it quickly became a hit. The media picked up on it, and our company grew steadily. While we were fully occupied with childcare and the business until it took off, by the time our daughter turned 2, the company had stabilized and was generating a steady income. With more breathing room, I began to think about my in-laws, whom we hadn't been in touch with for nearly 2 years. Apparently, after we left, Sienna developed pregnancy-induced hypertension and was hospitalized. Eating too much high-calorie food and high-quality meat provided by them, combined with a lack of exercise, probably wasn't good for her. She was put on strict bed rest and dietary restrictions, leading to a difficult pregnancy. Well, everyone must have been relieved when a healthy boy was born. However, the misfortunes continued, and the family cake shop closed down after Alex left, as it couldn't sustain itself. What happened to your parents after closing the shop? When I asked Alex, it seemed they were living modestly on their pensions. Though we don't have many good memories, they did raise Alex, after all. 2 years had passed since we left the in-laws, and as our anger subsided, we decided to gift each of our in-laws $2,000 for their birthdays. The amount was a nod to the $2,000 she mentioned for the birth celebration. We didn't know if she remembered, but if she did, we hoped it would remind her to reflect on her actions. Later on, Alex received a call informing us that the registered mail with the celebration money had arrived. They were reportedly very pleased. We're not ready to visit them yet, but perhaps time will heal these wounds. As long as we live with pride, things will move in the right direction. With support from my parents, I can focus on cakes alongside Alex, even during this challenging phase of childcare. Mommy, is this my cake? Yes, Rose. Isn't the rose petal beautiful? Do you like it? Delicious. Happy. My daughter touched her cheek with a blissful expression. This cake, developed to melt in the mouth without needing to be chewed, is perfect for a 1-year-old. We created a cute cake modeled after rose petals. Just like our child, I hope this cake becomes something that brings smiles to everyone's faces. Mommy, here, ah. She fed me a piece of the cake. The gentle sweetness melted in my mouth. I love that face, Mommy. With a mouthful of cake, I wished for these moments of happiness to reach people all over the world. I need to take my sister to the hospital, so can you lend me some money? In the midst of a heavy snowstorm, my 8-year-old grandson walked to our house for an hour. He had his 2-year-old sister, who was running a fever, on his back. Both of them looked quite emaciated, but what are my son and his wife doing? As I was getting worried and trying to let my freezing grandchildren into the house, my husband yelled loudly. There's no way I'm lending money. Seeing my grandson scared of my husband, I tried to scold him by saying, you don't have to be so harsh. Yet, he ignored me and took an even more shocking action. My name is Megan, a 60-year-old housewife. I was living peacefully with my 65-year-old husband, Anthony. We have a son named Michael, who got married and left home 10 years ago. He has 2 kids, 8-year-old Alexander and 2-year-old Lily, who are the apple of our eye. Anthony and I always looked forward to their visits. However, something odd started to happen with Michael 3 months ago, and the atmosphere changed. Michael has always been careless, even when he lived at home, accumulating laundry and being somewhat sloppy. To make matters worse, Michael's wife, Lisa, also seemed to struggle with housework. When I visited their house right after they got married, clothes were strewn everywhere, and the place was always a mess. With no space to even step. I wonder if these two can manage after having kids. But 10 years later, when they visited, the kids were both very energetic, and especially Alexander was quite mature for his age, which reassured me. Then, this happened. Michael came over with the grandchildren. Alexander is such a good boy, always helping out with the chores. It's really a relief he's not much trouble. Oh, that's good to hear. It's a relief he didn't take after his father. What do you mean by that? I smiled warmly at him, who tried to joke a little. But even though Alexander is mature, he's still only 8 years old. I worried about the burden on him due to his parents not being able to manage household tasks. Grandma, can I have some pocket money? Sure. I need to reward such a good boy for always helping your mom and dad. I was about to give him a $10 bill, but then Michael swiftly grabbed my wallet. Hey, Michael? What are you doing? No. He's the first grandchild, you gotta splurge more. $10 is nowhere near enough. He took a $100 bill from the wallet himself. And such incidents happened several times until finally, Anthony got furious and scolded Michael. But this was not good at all. Anthony has a scary and stubborn personality. The grandchildren were already afraid of him, and when Anthony yelled at Michael with a terrifying look, they became scared to visit us. In the end, the last time I saw my grandchildren was 3 months ago. Since then, only Michael occasionally comes to visit us, but he always demands pocket money for the grandchildren. Why don't you let us see them? If you miss them that much, why don't you use video calls or something? Oh, right, you're not good with that stuff, Mom. Michael snickered mockingly. But what he said was true, and we, the elderly couple, couldn't even use the internet. It's about the money, the money. Where's your wallet? He was only concerned about the pocket money for the grandchildren, rummaging around. I sighed in dismay. The wallet is in the safe. I've taken measures so you can't just take money without permission. Huh? What's that about? Fine, then, forget it. With that, Michael left abruptly. Realizing he had been coming for the money all along left me with mixed feelings. Even so, with his expensive-looking watch and gold necklace, he was dressed quite lavishly. I wonder if he's really living within his means. Ever since getting married, Michael has developed a taste for extravagance and nouveau riche tendencies. He's employed at a company dealing with children's products, and I've heard he earns a decent salary, but even so, his expenditures don't seem to match up. As I was pondering over this, Michael stopped coming to our house altogether. 3 months later, on a night of heavy snowfall, we heard someone ringing our doorbell. Hello? Alexander? What's going on? Standing at the front door was Alexander, with Lily on his back. Lily's got a fever. I need to take her to the hospital, so can you lend me some money? Both were in a dire state, their clothes tattered and their appearances gaunt. The thought of Alexander walking all this way in the heavy snow with Lily on his back left me dumbfounded. How did things come to this? What on earth are Michael and Lisa doing? Confused but worried, I was about to let my pale and freezing grandchildren into the house when Anthony shouted. There's no way we're lending money. At that moment, Alexander flinched. He was completely terrified of Anthony's furious demeanor. Now's not the time for that, dear. Just as I was about to scold Anthony for saying such harsh words, he rushed to Alexander and suddenly hugged him tightly. Both Alexander and I were so surprised by this sudden action that we were speechless. It's not about lending you the money. If you want it, we'd give you everything, and we want you to rely on us for that. You're not angry, dear? I'm shaking with anger at those foolish parents. But there's no way I could abandon my grandchildren in such a terrible state. While hugging the painfully thin grandchild, Anthony began to sob. He might be stubborn and easily misunderstood, but he truly loves Alexander and Lily from the bottom of his heart. Soon after, we took Lily to the hospital. After being examined by the doctor, her condition wasn't severe, and her fever soon subsided, allowing us to return home that same day. Back home, as the relieved Alexander watched Lily, who had quickly fallen asleep, we decided to ask him what had happened. The truth we heard from him left both Anthony and me in shock. Dad and Mom always leave the housework and Lily's care to me, and then go off somewhere. I do everything from washing dishes to cleaning the bathroom and the toilet. That's terrible. Do you know where they go during that time? I don't know. But Mom comes back with lots of expensive-looking bags, and Dad always comes back smelling of delicious food. From Alexander's story, it seemed likely Lisa was splurging on designer bags. And it also seemed that the couple was dining out alone. They probably weren't even preparing proper meals for their children. So that's why you're so thin. Anthony gently stroked Alexander's arm. Dad said we're like a cash cow to him. Anthony and I were shaken by Alexander's unexpected words. He takes videos of us looking all skinny and posts them on the internet. What? Is that true? Yeah. And then, people who feel sorry for us, crowdfunding? He said they're collecting money through that. Hey, what's that crowd something thing? Crowdfunding is gathering money from a large number of people via the internet. In other words, over the past 3 months, they had let their own children become thin and ragged, essentially exploiting the sympathy of others to swindle money. This made sense of why Michael had kept us from seeing the grandchildren for the past 3 months, and we were trembling with rage and shock. What on earth are those two thinking? Call Michael. Get him over here now. I tried calling him from my phone, but couldn't get through. How strange. Is he not at home? Hey, Alexander, do you know where they are? He said something about going to Hawaii and told me to make sure I take care of the housework. What did you say? Incredibly, they had left the children at home and gone on a trip. But Alexander said he wasn't told anything more detailed than that. We might find something if we go to their house, let's check it out. Anthony drove us, with Alexander and Lily, to their house, using the key Alexander gave us to get inside. The room was still a mess, with hardly any space to walk. We searched for a path, pushing aside the clutter as we went. Then, Anthony shouted, "Hey! I found this next to the phone." In his hand was a piece of paper with dates, times, alphabets, and numbers written on it. Could this possibly be? When I searched the characters on my phone, they turned out to be the airline and flight number, as expected. That meant the dates and times were likely when they flew to Hawaii and when they were scheduled to return. From there, we figured out they were returning the next day at 4 p.m. Fueled by anger, we decided to prepare to confront them for what they did to our grandchildren. We decided to stay in their house for the time being. After making a delicious meal for the grandchildren, Alexander, tears streaming down his face, devoured his food, saying, "It's good, really good." While Lily also munched away. Watching them, we couldn't help but tear up ourselves. After shower and putting the grandchildren to bed, I contacted someone on my phone. I will never forgive Michael and Lisa, just you wait. Then, at 4 p.m. the next day, the four of us were at the airport. In the lobby, people were joyfully reuniting with those who came through the exit. Among them, Anthony and I waited with furrowed brows. Soon enough, Michael and Lisa emerged through the gate, leis around their necks, looking very much the part of Hawaii returnees. "Welcome back. Seems like you had a fun trip?" "What? Why are you here?" Upon seeing us, Michael and Lisa started to turn around and leave. But Anthony grabbed their shoulders tightly and wouldn't let go. "Let's hear what the two of you have to say." "Hey, let go, stop it." While Michael struggled, Lisa cried, "Someone, please help," causing a commotion. Initially, we thought to discuss this somewhere else, but we ended up confronting them on the spot due to the scene they were causing. "Michael, we've heard everything from Alexander. It seems you've been quite harsh on them." "What? Alexander, you snitched to Grandma." "Quiet." Alexander flinched as Michael lunged at him, but Anthony didn't allow it to happen. Anthony grabbed Michael by the scruff of his neck and yanked him back, causing him to choke and let out a ska. Crying, Lisa begged, "Please stop, Anthony, Megan," and soon enough, onlookers began to gather. I took a deep breath, and with a voice loud enough to echo throughout the area, I exclaimed, "Making the children do all the housework while you two go off on a trip to Hawaii is unacceptable. Why didn't you take them with you?" "Well, that's because..." He stumbled over his words, his face drenched in nervous sweat. "If you can't answer, I will. Let's see here. Please extend your love to children struggling for their daily bread. Donate through this site." "Mom, please stop. Is this the webpage you created for fundraising?" I shoved my phone screen in front of Michael's face. It displayed the crowdfunding site created by them. Prominently featured were pictures of a gaunt Alexander and Lily, whom he carried on his back. To top it off, there was even a video of Alexander pleading, "I'm hungry, please donate." Michael was utterly shocked. "Why, how? Mom, you're not usually into the internet, right?" "True, but I can still ask a friend who's savvy about these things." "Damn, so that's it. This page has spread quite a bit, and even a friend of mine knew about it." Yes, the person I had contacted last night after putting the children to bed was a female friend of mine who is proficient with the internet. When I realized my grandchildren were being exploited for crowdfunding, her face immediately came to mind. After sending Alexander's photo to my friend for confirmation, as expected, I received a reply saying, "I remember seeing this child. And I even made a donation. You didn't want to let go of the children because they bring in money. But taking them on a trip would expose the lie. So it was more convenient for you to go to Hawaii by yourselves, right?" "Yeah, that's right." He frowned and looked down, falling silent for a while. Then suddenly, he began to chuckle, his shoulders shaking. "You might not know this, Mom, but everything on a site, photos, and videos, can all be deleted with the click of a button. That's the internet for you." "Michael. How rotten can you get?" "Don't worry, I'll clean it up later, too bad for you." Despite Anthony's scolding, Lisa caused a commotion again, saying, "Violence isn't good, I think." I felt so disheartened I almost sighed. Look, Michael. If you had admitted and shown some remorse, I might have considered being more lenient. Hey, what are you going to do, Mom? You really think I haven't thought of any countermeasures? But guess what? My friend has already taken screenshots of the site and saved all the images and videos. Michael looked puzzled and then his face turned pale. Ah. When Anthony let go, Michael collapsed to the floor, unable to stand. Michael seemed unable to stand, crawling on the floor and clinging to my feet. Wait, Mom, please. Let's talk this over calmly. I'm perfectly calm. What are you planning to do with those saved images and videos? No, don't tell me, please just spare me that. You know what kind of position I'm in. Right, Mom? Michael apologized profusely, and Lisa added, I told you we should stop. However, Michael forcefully grabbed her, despite her reluctance, and said, just apologize, will you, making her apologize as well. It's too late now, look around you. When they timidly looked up at my words, they both widened their eyes in shock. That's because the crowd of onlookers surrounding them had all aimed their phones at the couple. Michael exclaimed, "Whoa. Stop it, don't film," as he hurriedly covered his face with his hands, but it was too late. We're cutting ties with you, and we'll take Alexander and Lily. You don't deserve to be parents. With a firm stance, I left the airport with my grandchildren. Later, videos taken by the onlookers spread. A friend who had seen the site posted the truth while protecting the children's privacy, and Michael and Lisa's lies were exposed, leading to a massive backlash against them for fraud. Moreover, this reached Michael's company, which dealt with children's products, and he was immediately fired. With their faces fully exposed in the spread videos, they had nowhere to turn. Meanwhile, we filed a lawsuit to permanently revoke their parental rights. The lawsuit was successful, and we were officially granted custody of the grandchildren. Since the incident, the children have grown very fond of Anthony, and he adores them. The sound of happy children fills our home, and I am truly content. Run now. I was awakened by my husband's shout. Groggily rising from bed, I hurriedly looked around, wondering if there was a fire, but everything was quiet. What's going on? Turning around, I saw that my husband, who had shouted, was still in a dream. Could it be sleep talking? My husband, Mike, often talks in his sleep, and this wasn't the first time I'd been woken up by that. But I'd never heard him say something like this before, and I couldn't help but chuckle. What's there to run from? Then, as if responding to my words, my husband said something startling, making me tremble. This can't be happening. And so, I decided to divorce my husband of 40 years. My name is Linda, and I'm 63 years old. Mike and I have a son, who got married and left home 5 years ago. After successfully raising our child, I thought we had managed our marriage fairly well despite its ups and downs. Mike is set to retire on his birthday next month. Back in our 50s, he used to laugh and say things like, after I retire, let's head to the deep countryside and maybe take up farming or indulge in skiing all winter long. Or, doing a complete tour of the US in an RV sounds great. But as retirement approached, those conversations just faded away. I wasn't seriously considering a skiing spree at our age, but I hoped we could travel together while we still had our health. So, to celebrate my husband's retirement, I was looking online for a stay at a luxury hotel that we wouldn't normally consider. But then, run now. His sleep talk and the shocking words he uttered in response to me were unbelievable. Laura, my wife, found out about the affair. It'll be bad if she comes. My husband, deep in sleep, clutched the blanket, moaning and moving his head. Laura? Hearing that name made me shake with anger. If this continues, our plan will be ruined. His sleep talking continued. So? I'll be the one to truly ruin your plans. I thought we were about to start a peaceful new chapter after 40 years together, but this event steered us towards an unexpected divorce. The next morning, as usual, my husband woke up and ate the breakfast I had prepared as if nothing had happened. Your sleep talking was worse than usual last night. Really? Maybe I'm just stressed with all the handovers and stuff at work. You need to take care of your health to finish work properly, don't you? Yeah. He seemed to have no recollection of the previous night. Deliberately, I spoke more kindly than usual and unusually saw him off to work at the front door. It's rare for you to see me off. Well, retirement is just around the corner, so why not once in a while? Okay, I'll be going now. I'll be late because of overtime work, but I'll be home by the last train. Then you won't need dinner, right? No. My husband closed the door with a bang. After locking the door from the inside, I waited a moment until I could no longer hear his footsteps fading away. Overtime, huh? I wonder if that's really true. Time to hurry up and find out. I began searching our house to gather evidence of his infidelity. Going through each pocket of his suits in the closet, I found a crumpled piece of paper. There it is. Just as I suspected. It was unmistakably a suspicious motel receipt. He must have paid in cash to avoid leaving a digital trail, but keeping the receipt defeats the purpose. I found several more receipts, the most recent dated just 2 days ago. He said he was working late the day before yesterday, and he came home in the early hours. Despite preparing myself for the possibility of his infidelity after hearing his sleep talking, the emergence of concrete evidence shook me. And I found myself in tears before I knew it. Why, though? You said it was over. I believed that. The truth is, my husband had an affair once before, 10 years ago. I'm sorry. It was just a moment of folly. Linda, we will never meet again, please forgive us. When their affair came to light, they both apologized like that. His affair partner, Laura, was more than a decade younger than him and a subordinate at his work. Apparently, he began consoling Laura over her struggles as a divorced single mother, and one thing led to another. It was discovered when my sister happened to see them arm in arm, disappearing into a motel district. Soon after, I heard that Laura had quit her job and moved back to her hometown, and I believed their relationship had ended. Of course, there was a rut in the back of my mind. But at the time, our son was a senior in college, busy with job hunting. I was worried that our divorce would impact him, so I endured. I reassured myself, believing that after all this time together, he wouldn't seriously leave me, and we could start over. So you've been deceiving me for 10 years? My hands, clutching the motel receipts, were shaking. I will never forgive this. A simple divorce won't be the end of it. Just you wait. Continuing my search through bags and drawers, I found brochures of motels I'd never visited and aquarium tickets. But these weren't concrete proof that Laura was involved. Ah, that's right. I pulled out a laptop that had been stowed away in the closet. My husband bought it a few years ago intending to start a side job. But soon it was used only for gaming, and then not at all once he realized he could do that on his phone. I occasionally used it myself, so I knew the password. As expected, the laptop booted up easily, and I opened my husband's emails. He used a webmail service accessible from both his phone and laptop, so I could see his exchanges even though he no longer used the computer. I'll divorce my wife after retirement, and then we can live together. To my astonishment, one of the opened emails contained exactly those words. I've told my wife that my salary got less due to the recession, and she completely believes it. Let's save money to buy a condo for us. My husband works for a major corporation, and a few years ago, he happily mentioned, "It looks like I'll be getting better salary during 5 years till retirement." I recalled how he suddenly started saying something different recently. The company's performance has worsened, so it seems like my salary will be getting less. How much do you think you'll get? Maybe around $2,000 a month at best. I couldn't say anything more to him at the time, seeing how dejected he was, not to mention it wasn't his fault the company was underperforming. We had some savings, I thought we might manage. Since then, I'd been crunching numbers on the household budget every day. I had envisioned a retirement filled with occasional movies, dining out, and a few trips each year. We would have to cut back significantly. But it seemed doable. I might need to increase my part-time hours. It's unfortunate. But he will have to find some part-time work after retirement while he's still able-bodied. What was all the time I spent agonizing over this for? Does your wife really not notice anything about us? She's oblivious. Even if she finds out, she forgives me as long as I apologize. It was the same 10 years ago. She believes we completely broke it off back then, so it's fine. The emails were filled with mocking words about me. I've given her $2,000 in salary every month, but actually, I've got $4,000 every month. So, just save the remaining $2,000 every month. $2,000 every month should be more than enough for her. I'll tell her the divorce on my retirement day. Then, we can start our new life in the condo we bought yesterday. Seeing the heart symbols in the emails of my soon-to-be 65-year-old husband made me feel nauseous. A condo bought yesterday? When I checked my husband's bank account online, I saw a transfer of $50,000 to a real estate agent on the date mentioned in the email, leaving almost nothing in the account. So, their love nest is already set up? Disgusting. My anger gradually turned into emptiness, and I became more clear-headed. I'll grant them their wish for a divorce, and I'll do it in a way that's as advantageous to me as possible. I continued searching online for information about divorce. That reminds me, there it is. I turned my closet inside out and found a diary I had written 10 years ago. Flipping through the pages, I found a piece of paper I had tucked into the date the affair was discovered. Just as I thought. Smirking at the content, I immediately called a law firm I had found online. I was determined to sort everything out without my husband noticing before his birthday, which was also his retirement day. A few days later, my husband came home unusually early and looked around the room. Things seemed to have decreased a lot recently. I threw away a lot of unnecessary stuff. You know, it's the trend these days. I had already decided on a place to move after the divorce and was slowly moving my things there. Worried that he might have noticed, I realized he no longer seemed interested in me or what I was doing. Hey, my mom wants to rebuild her house. So, I decided we should use our savings to help her out. What? Of course, I've already given all my savings to her. It's not enough, so we have no choice. But what about our future? You're working part-time, so it's fine. But that will almost deplete our savings. Don't worry. I will also work part-time after retirement. He was probably trying to reduce our joint assets to minimize the amount he'd have to give me. I never imagined he'd resort to such underhanded tactics. That's a shame. I was planning a luxurious hotel trip to celebrate your retirement, just the two of us. Huh? Forget about that. Why? No, it's pointless to go on a trip with you now. I didn't miss the brief look of annoyance on his face. Of course. He wouldn't plan a trip with someone he's planning to divorce on his retirement day. I had thought about an all-around America trip or skiing, just the two of us after retirement. You used to talk about it, remember? Saying this brightly on purpose made him even more irritable. We can't afford luxuries on a trip while making my mom and others hold back. I didn't say that. I was just hoping we could spend a relaxed and friendly time together after retirement. Mike sat silently, his face sour as if he had bitten into a bitter bug. Up until recently, I truly believed that. But you know what? I've lost the desire to go with you as well. Tough luck. In my heart, I lashed out with all the bitterness I could muster. And then, on his retirement day, I spread a feast across the table and popped a cracker as soon as Mike entered the room. Despite my beaming smile and warm welcome, his face remained cold and expressionless. Congratulations on your retirement. Let's get a divorce. What? You must be joking. Having rehearsed this moment countless times in my mind, I dramatized my shock like an actress, bursting into tears. I'm sorry. I'll give you half of our savings as a settlement. That's all we have in terms of shared assets. No. I won't agree to a divorce. I'm sorry. After saying just that, Mike left the house. All that was left was a feast that I prepared. Well then, on to the next plan. I celebrated alone with a feast. The next day, I found myself in front of the luxury condo Mike had purchased, accompanied by a woman. When I pressed the apartment number at the entrance, a woman's voice responded. You must be Laura, I'm Mike's wife. Ah. The voice sounded as if it came out of nowhere, and I almost laughed, restraining myself with effort. He's there too, isn't he? Can you let us in? No. Go away. You don't have the right to refuse us. What do you mean? Who do you think this woman with me is? She's my lawyer, Miranda. What? Do you want to talk now, or would you prefer going to court? Mike appeared on the monitor, talking with Laura. Let us in quickly. Or would you rather continue this discussion in the entrance, where all your neighbors could know about your misdeeds? Fine, come in. This is how Miranda and I stormed into the love nest of foolish Mike and his mistress. Once inside, Mike bombarded me with questions like, how did you find out, and how did you know about this place? I ignored them all. Miranda then laid out the divorce settlement in front of them. Asset division $200,000. What is this? Both Mike and Laura were left gaping at the document. There's no way we have that much money. Why not? The monthly salary you hid from me for 3 years is $72,000 in total. $80,000 went to your mother. And $50,000 for the down payment on this condo. That adds up to about $200,000. Pay up. But I didn't hide any salary. Too bad for you. It seems you were trying to deceive me. Miranda has already contacted your company to verify the details. All of this is considered marital assets. Miranda nodded in agreement beside me. Laura, you could pay me on behalf of him. I don't have that kind of money. We don't afford such a huge amount of money. Please forgive us. Suddenly, Mike apologized, and right beside him, Laura was also apologizing. So you thought I'd easily forgive you if you apologized, remember? Don't underestimate me. What do you think supporting you for 40 years up until your retirement meant? The two of them timidly looked up, taken aback by my outburst. So, what will it be? Accepting the divorce settlement here and now, or facing a hopeless court battle? Choose whichever you prefer. Court would take too much time and money, but this settlement is outrageous. That's absurd. Oh, did you forget? I pulled a piece of paper from my bag. Pledge, we will never meet again in the future. Should we break this promise, we will accept any request made. It was the same piece of paper I had found in my diary from 10 years ago. During the first affair scandal, I impulsively made it and had both of them sign it. It says right here you'd do anything. This is invalid now. That's right. Then, let's go to court. That's right, you haven't received your salary for the last month yet, have you? If we're going to court, I'll make sure to inform your company so they don't let you misuse the funds. After a moment of silence, Mike looked up and muttered, all right. Good. Then sign here. But paying $200,000 is outrageous. Even I know that much. $5,000 a year for 40 years of support. Do you really think that's too much? I didn't want to quantify our 40 years of marriage in terms of money. But I figured he wouldn't understand without me putting it that way. Truth be told, even Miranda thought the amount was too high, but during the drafting stage, she told me I could ask for whatever I wanted. So I insisted. Can't you make it a more manageable amount? I have my future to think about, and there's the mortgage for this condo. Then sell the condo. Of course, you'll probably sell it at a loss. That's what I'm saying. So, understand my position. Don't start playing the sympathy card now. All I understand is that you two will have a miserably tight budget from now on. After stating my piece, I left the rest to Miranda and exited. In the end, I got $100,000 for the shared assets. Still, unable to afford the mortgage, they were forced to put the condo on the market, only to find it wouldn't sell for the desired amount, leading to substantial debt. Reluctantly, my ex-husband started doing day labor, and Laura began working in a bar at night, constantly fighting over their financial woes. I never thought I'd be living alone at this age, but I've found the freedom to use my time as I please quite enjoyable. Lately, I've become fond of traveling alone, and I'm currently planning a trip abroad. I'm looking forward to enjoying the rest of my life.